everyone, and welcome to OK Seriously with Natasha, a show specifically created to be an open platform where anything goes. I am your host, Natasha Jameson. This is my passion, and I hope that I inspire you to live your own. We are so excited to be shooting on location today at Ajax Mixed Martial Arts Academy with my Muay Thai instructor, Hany. There's Hany, Mr. Burpee.
Hello there.
We will be talking and discussing about the benefits of training Muay Thai, why it helps us with mental wellness, and demonstrating some essential self-defense moves that everyone should know, right?
Clearly.
Welcome to the show, Hany.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
My pleasure. I'm so excited. I actually was really excited about taping this episode because I know what Muay Thai has done for me and all the benefits. And I'm like really eager to share it with everyone else and get your expertise on how, you know, other people can benefit from this, especially during COVID.
Definitely.
Right? So I believe that you need to try Muay Thai, kind of be addicted to it, kind of like how we are, in order to really appreciate it and see the benefits from it. Why is Muay Thai a great option for self-defense and overall mental wellness?
So, I would say first and foremost, Muay Thai, I would say some people fall in love with it right away, some of them get attuned to it, but regardless, at the end of your first session, you're gonna realize it's like really good medicine.
Yes.
It may not taste the best, it may feel awful for a moment, but it works and it's really good for you, and you will leave feeling immensely better than when you first came in. So obviously physically, similar to any physical exercise or any gym, Muay Thai is amazing for you because it's a martial art, and a martial art usually utilizes your entire body, your entire core, right? You're not simply just running for cardio, or you're not simply just lifting weights. It is called the art of 8 limbs, which means that you use your fists, your elbows, your knees, and your legs to strike and to defend. What that means is, what that translates to essentially is that when you're training in Muay Thai, you're utilizing every single part of your body to build lean muscle, to lose weight. So for the physical benefits are similar to a lot of different workouts. Now, where I think Muay Thai distinguishes itself from a lot of different forms of exercise is that the mental aspect really makes a big difference. You know, after a long day of work, or you know, having a busy day with the kids, sometimes just punching and kicking something is just the stress reliever that you need.
That
and maybe,
is true.
Maybe, you know, lifting weights maybe doesn't cut it out all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you could attest to it. Sometimes just punching something for an hour.
It feels so good.
It's fantastic.
It does. Yes. So some people may be intimidated, you know, when they begin training. I know that I was, although my son, you know, trained first of all with you, because it's super intense, especially during one of Hany's classes, because he loves burpees.
Good medicine.
He loves burpees. The man loves burpees.
She insists
I don't
on having
love
fun
them,
burpees.
but I need them. I don't know. How is Muay Thai effective for beginners to prevent an attack? Because that's what it comes down to for the self-defense segment we're doing today.
Right. So my personal, I've been teaching Muay Thai, I would say, for about 2 to 3 years now. I've been training for almost 7. I always believe that beginner students are the best kinds of students. They kind of come in with just a blank canvas, and there's this eagerness to listen and to learn, especially if they haven't had any sort of prior experience.
Like with martial art, or just in general?
Oh, martial arts in general, right? It's essential for beginners because people think of self-defense as, okay, you're gonna learn all these really super cool moves, and you're gonna beat up the 10 school bullies like you see in Karate Kid, and that it could be further from the truth.
That's true.
Where there is some relevancy is that you will be able to defend yourself and learn key things that you otherwise wouldn't have been prepared for should someone be attacked. So if you're a beginner, learning something as simple as a block could prevent you from, you know, necessarily taking more damage than you need to, or learning how to throw a punch and not necessarily shying away from the conflict should you be forced into it, is how Muay Thai can benefit beginners. And you know, it takes a lot of unlearning bad habits that we naturally have as human beings.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing about Muay Thai. It's about people come in and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna learn all these super cool moves." It's actually about unlearning a lot of things that are natural human instinct.
Yes.
Right. It's ironic. You're coming in to learn to unlearn, but that's pretty much what makes Muay Thai as a martial art so effective, right?
Absolutely. So all that in conjunction with the physical conditioning, because we know what it takes to be able to implement these things so that you actually feel more empowered to defend yourself and carry yourself a little bit more. So let's talk about that. Why is it important? The endurance, conditioning, all of that training.
I mean, conditioning, endurance. I mean, you really do think.
Especially with Muay Thai.
Oh, definitely. I mean, half the time when you enter a Muay Thai or martial arts environment, it's the first warm-up consists of you just doing strength and conditioning, a lot of endurance, a lot of burpees, just a variety of different things. The reality is that, you know, whether you're competing in a sanctioned bout inside of the ring or whether you are defending yourself from an attack on the street, most fights and confrontations, physical at least, last about 20 to 30 seconds, maybe a minute if they're long. But what if it goes past that?
Right.
Right? Adrenaline is meant to help you in the short term. But if you're unfortunate enough to be in a situation where you have to get out of it, that's where conditioning comes in. Right? It's called conditioning for a reason. You're teaching and training your body to sustain and go through a lot of motions and fatigues.
Push past your limits.
Push past your limits, right? Anyone can throw a punch. Can you throw a punch after 5 minutes of intense exercise? So I think the conditioning, the endurance part, if you think about it, cardio is king, cardio is key. It's your currency, right? It's how you get gas, right? If you're in a car, you can only get so far without gas.
That's true. That's true. A lot of people though think that they have to be this like skilled, trained sort of fighter in order to be able to defend themselves. I can tell you, we have a variety of levels in our class, from me to like Hany, all different levels, fighters and everything. But let's talk a little bit about like clarifying that for people, because I think what is the intention for self-defense? Like, what is the goal? Because it's not to sit there as a skilled fighter. What is the intention?
Right.
For self-defense.
Self-defense, it's literally the word, is to defend yourself, and that's it. There's nothing. Notice that the terminology itself, it's not about beating the other person up.
Or being a great fighter.
Or being a great fighter. The first time I sparred, by the way, I got just a little soft jab to the face, and I ran behind the bag. Like, this is not about being a skilled fighter or being somebody that isn't experienced. It's about equipping yourself with the tools so that at that moment you have enough to get yourself to safety.
Right.
So to kind of transition into your question, self-defense is about getting away fast and quickly.
Yeah, defend yourself to be able to have that moment to run and get away.
Exactly, and particularly in a situation where, you know what I mean, there's an aggressor and you need to get out of that situation. It's about that split second where you don't get shocked, for instance, if you get attacked, because you've put yourself in that situation in the gym before, or you're able to, you know what I mean, hit someone back and strike someone back and create that half a moment where they're startled so you can get away. So self-defense is very much so about defending yourself, right? It's not necessarily about inflicting harms on others, although to keep it completely transparent, sometimes you need to do that in order to defend yourself. But I think the initial philosophy behind self-defense is to defend yourself for your sake, and then to essentially just minimize the situation while taking the least amount of damage.
Yeah, I've done some different types of self-defense on another show that I had before, and I think just talking about instincts and how we kind of train so that impulse is there, that, you know, we automatically know what to do. Unfortunately, our natural instincts sometimes tell us to pull away, not to go into an attacker or to face an attacker. We want to get away, pull away, and that kind of putting us in almost like a weaker position. So let's talk about that concept.
Yeah, so again, it's about unlearning certain things, right? The idea behind why someone flinches, if you kind of throw something at somebody, they'll flinch and they'll look away. Right. What training in something like Muay Thai does is you learn to actually
react, right?
It's kind of strange, you know, not to get overly philosophical, but it's you know, you're learning the mechanics and the practicality of defending yourself and, you know, not shying away from the attack. But there's a little moral lesson in there, kind of like if there's something coming at you, if there's something that's inevitable, it's about facing it head on. So precisely the self-defense aspect is if someone let's just say is
grabs you
or grabs you, right? And if you were to grab my arm and I'm trying to
run
get away,
I'm vulnerable,
to run, right? Whereas if you grab me
right into
and I can kind of that initial buffer zone, me running away makes me vulnerable. I can't see what's going on. If I'm facing you, and I could at least strike or get your hand off of me, right? But that
we're gonna get into that, for sure.
But that entails me kind of, you know what I mean, pushing into it. But a lot of people's instincts are to run away.
Yes, pull away, run away to get away, and that might not be the best, you know, situation.
For sure.
So we're going to get into demonstration
Ooh.
Yes, very exciting. So we are down to demonstration and technique. So I'm really excited to show this.
This is the fun part.
Yes, it is. I love this part. Elbows
So
especially.
violent.
Elbows. We're going to talk about the clinch. We're going to talk about countering and blocking. We're going to talk about basic punches and why elbows and knees are essential.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, take it away.
So, essentially, I believe basics are king, basics are everything. You can watch high-level fighters in the highest-level sports organizations and combat sports, and usually the way that they win their fights is through basics. Whether it's a fight in the middle of the street, whether you're getting away with somebody, you're not going to throw a crazy spinning move that's exaggerated in some sort of action movie. Realistically, basics are everything. So the first thing that you teach someone is how to stand, right? And the way you stand, if I'm standing with my 2 feet like this off balance and you shove me, right, I'm off balance.
Yeah.
If I'm standing, if you teach someone to stand properly, you see I'm a lot stronger, I'm a lot solid. So the stance is the most important thing. So for self-defense, what I personally like to teach in the beginning is just simply blocking. Kind of that portion where you help someone unlearn a lot of their bad habits. Sometimes if someone's being punched, right, they want to shy away from the punch. The appropriate way to actually block an attack is to have your chin down, your hands up, and then you're throwing punches at them, and you're kind of going with the flow, right? You're kind of going like you're rolling with them. You're rolling with each attack. You could throw a hook, you could block, right? And just you can do this gently with somebody, right? You can do this with a partner at home where you're just blocking, and then you don't tell me which way you're hitting, you know? Throw any sort of punch, right? So just being able to kind of block and not shy away from getting hit is very, very important. It's very, very key. Also, learning how to punch is also very important, right? But I find that everyone comes into a class very eager, learning how to hit, but not learning how to defend.
Right.
And it's defending that most people don't think about.
People don't even see it coming. They're not expecting you to defend something.
Absolutely not.
You know what I
Sometimes
mean?
just standing in a ready position.
You're like, whoa.
Right? Like if I'm standing like this to you and right, and I'm not necessarily in any sort of position, I'm like, okay, like I'm going to defend myself, but I'm looking. Body language is important.
Everything.
Right? Predators and people that are aggressors do this often a lot, and they usually read people's body language to kind of determine whether or not this person is going to be their next prey or victim.
It's unfortunate, but it's so true.
Especially for women,
Yes.
right? But sometimes even just standing ready, right? The energy kind of changes,
Right.
Right? And it's a very real thing, you know. If someone even gets a hint or detects that you have some sort of basic defense capabilities, it tends to make them back off and be more hesitant. Remember, nobody wants to deal with more trouble than it's worth.
Right.
So just having the ability to defend yourself is enough, right? Being able to stand in the guard, in the position, right? You're able to block, and then you can counter right away, right? Sometimes and you're gonna get hit sometimes. This is not to say that, something's gonna happen. But like you also learn to take a hit. So if you were to hit me, right, I'm still looking at you. You can counter back, right? And this is applicable in any situation. Obviously, a street situation, so many things can take place. I really want to make it a point to advocate that. Don't get into any street fights, please.
No, of course not.
But it's not to encourage the use of, Muay Thai in the middle of the street, but it's more so to make them understand that so many variables can happen, and it's just really important to equip yourself with the ability to react to whatever may happen.
Yeah. Even scratching somebody's face or poking them in the eye.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Even the clinch, if you think about what makes Muay Thai different than something than other martial arts is the clinch. The clinch typically it's pretty much standing up. It's like a standing up wrestling position. You'll see this a lot in a lot of professional Muay Thai fights, where for a good minute or two they'll just sit there and they'll knee each other back and forth. So if Natasha wants to knee back, I'll knee back, knee back. You can elbow people from inside, and that's why Muay Thai is also very effective, because it's just the use of the elbows are something that are unique to it. So if you're in a situation, a lot of fights, realistically, no one's going to sit here, and most people aren't trained fighters, right? So the reality is, if you're in the middle of the street and a situation occurs, and then you come at me, right? We're punching each other. We're already this close. People have a natural tendency to grab, right? And most people don't know what to do once they get grabbed. So the clinch allows you, right? There's a variety of techniques, but just being able to get someone in this position, if Natasha tries to get away, I can control her by her head, and then you can knee. So the clinch also allows you to elbow. It just opens up a variety of different things, right? And I think it's such an underemphasized part of any self-defense training,
Yeah.
because striking is one thing. When you're locked up with somebody, it's
You're
a different
controlling
story.
the situation.
And it's a lot more tiring, it's a lot
Yes.
scarier, but learning how to do that kind of makes you also very comfortable with close contact.
Yes.
It's very uncomfortable when someone's like this close to you. Do you know what I mean? So learning to defend yourself in that situation just gives you more tools. It's essentially about giving you more tools to deal with whatever may come your way.
Exactly. Now you got to talk about elbows and knees. I love elbows. Every time Hany says, "What other move can we add on?" and he looks at me, he already knows what I'm going to say on elbow.
Oh yes,
So yeah, I don't know. I
the
just
elbow
love them.
queen, the elbow queen.
I wish, but okay.
Oh man, so elbows, again, elbows are meant for close range, right? Again, so people can fight from here. A lot of people can exchange here, but realistically, a lot of people end up being
Or
very
from
close.
behind, right?
Or from behind,
Yeah.
right? So if you're already here, right, and someone's locking you up, or realistically in a street fight situation, if someone's grabbing you, right, Natasha can, you know, if she's trained enough to understand how to react to certain situations, she can grab my arm here. So you grab my arm, grab my elbow, right, pull my arm down, and then see where your hand is positioned for the elbow. Use this hand to elbow my face.
Oh,
Sometimes it's as simple as that, right? Having a hand right here, you're trying to, so Natasha's attacking me, right? You're coming at me, and you grab me, right? And I'm trying to get away. Sometimes it's just about pushing her arm away and then throwing an elbow, right? I guess what I'm trying to emphasize here, it's different things will happen. You won't always necessarily
Yeah.
feel that opportunity to, but someone who is untrained, and if you're being attacked, it's there, right? Elbows are very short.
Knees.
Exactly, it's one of the hardest bones in your entire body. So being able to throw it from close range is important too, right? This is a bag. This is about a 100-pound bag. Oftentimes, when people want to punch, they load up and they kind of do this whole lead up to like get power. With elbows, you don't really need much. From right here, you could stand without even moving, and then you could throw, right? And that's not a 100-pound bag.
yeah.
That's not someone's face.
Right. Right.
So imagine what happens
Oh,
if you
yeah,
land on
absolutely.
somebody's face. So I think the idea here is to understand that the more tools you have at your disposal, and the more you drill them, and the more you put yourself in these uncomfortable scenarios,
Yes.
the more well prepared you are.
Yeah, your reaction changes, your confidence changes, you're not talked about the clinch. This is from the back too. If somebody grabs you, you could implement any elbows or
But definitely,
even,
like if someone comes from behind, right, and grabs you, it's literally just a question of,
right.
right, and think about it. If she grabs me, Natasha grabs me, and I'm trying to get away,
You're
and
gonna choke.
Right, exactly. It's running away from it. Oftentimes, isn't the solution that human instinct teaches you that it is. So if Natasha grabs me, sometimes it's elbowing here, elbowing there. If it's a guy, elbow him in the groin, knee him in the groin,
To
whatever.
get away, anything to
get away. So if I grab you and then you knee me in the groin area, that little opportunity where I'm taken off guard, that space that Natasha has is her opportunity to get away.
Yeah, push and run.
And then she's out of there, right?
Yeah.
Even if I were to grab you, you were to just kind of like use your hand to push my face away, from
Yeah.
right? And then we're in a clinch position, right? Natasha doesn't even need to knee me. If I grab her and then she pushes my hand away,
Yeah.
she can literally push me away and run.
Yeah, that's really good.
She's already more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, right, there you go. That's good. I like that. More trouble than it's worth.
Sometimes
That's what we want.
Sometimes you have to raise a little hell in your life.
I think so. Be a little bit violent, like you
Right.
said.
A little bit of sass takes people
Little
very far.
Tiny bit, yes. So I always ask at the end of our show, what is the takeaway for our viewers? A couple of tips that they can kind of remember from this show.
Okay, I do think that the key takeaway here is the best self-defense is to prevent yourself from finding yourself in that situation in the first place. Obviously, that's not always possible, but generally speaking, be very mindful of your surroundings, be very aware of your surroundings, for both men and women, but especially women because of the vulnerabilities that just exist in the world out there, unfortunately. So sometimes the best self-defense is just not putting yourself in a situation where you have to defend yourself,
Absolutely.
right? That for a lot of people, it can mean just letting go of your ego, right? A lot of people, it's like they feel like they need to say something or prove something to themselves. Avoiding
Walk
that
away,
situation,
walk
just
away.
walk away at the end of the day. And if you are forced in that situation, strike quickly and then get out as fast as you can. It's about getting away and getting away quickly. It's not about beating the other person up. This isn't a sporting competition where you need to inflict some sort of damage. You don't know if the person has somebody else with them. It's just about getting away as soon as you can. And lastly, have fun with it. I do think, Natasha, that we tend to make this such a serious, like, we kind of try to put this serious endeavor into it. But the idea behind Muay Thai, if you go to Thailand, where it's the national sport, where it comes from, it's very fun, it's very playful.
Yeah.
Mothers, grandmothers, they use it as a form of recreation, and it's very, very fun.
Good.
So
That's good to know.
definitely, if you know, Muay Thai, it's about learning to enjoy what you're doing, learning a new skill, and getting fit at the same time.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Hany, for being a part of our show.
Thank you for
We are
having me.
really lucky to have you on and share all of your expertise.
Thank you.
That is all the time that we have for today. Please make sure you hit the like and subscription button below to our channel, and we will see you next time.